Let me tell y'all something. Aside from, you see this hat, you see this jacket, I'm a nice presenting woman. I'm hungry. I want to be the best. If I have 2 days, if I have 24 hours, I'm going to work my hardest to make the best performance because I want to be the best. Period. Don't let the jumpsuit fool
All right, how do you feel when you hear this song with everything that has changed since this song? I always think of songs, Doechii, as being like such an essential part of your chosen family. You chose to make it, and now it leads and it guides and it shows you the way. So what does this song mean to you when you hear it coming out of the stage?
This song means alignment. It means celebration. It means arriving, and it means being that girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
As far as first comments in the show is concerned, you just won that award this year, Doechii. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm doing amazing.
Yeah, congratulations on everything. We're going to talk about what a year you've had and focus on the future too, and just also try to stay as present as possible. So it is December. Do you love this time of year?
I do. Yeah. I love it. For some reason these days I'm always working through December and I'm working through the holidays. Yeah.
I think this is something that a lot of people need to understand about people who are in the arts, is that even though it is a passion and you get to apply yourself every day to what you love, there's no 9 to 5 to this, and there's no actual traditional calendar to this world at all, right?
No off days. You work 25/8.
20. I like that. 64 after 21 in the hour right now as we have fun with time. So 2024.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Yeah.
And it's not like you arrived overnight. You spent years building up to this moment.
Absolutely. I've been making music for a very long time.
Yes, and we've appreciated it throughout, but equally recalibrating your own inner self so that your outer self reflects yourself correctly. I feel like that's what these years have really been. And not to try to kind of put a ribbon on it, because that work will continue throughout your whole life, but how sort of important has the last 3 years been for you as a human before we even heard the art, just the decisions you made to just get yourself in balance?
Yeah, it's meant a lot to me. I have learned so much about myself through the industry. That's the thing. It's not just about the industry. I've learned so much about myself and my mental willpower and what I like and what aligns with me and how that reflects through my music. And so this year in particular has been this blossoming of work that I've been doing for a very long time internally. And now it's finally showing itself.
I love that you say you learned through the industry, because I think that when you're an artist and you're making music, before you find anyone that cares and wants to invest with the best of intentions, you think you got to do it all yourself, and then someone comes along and goes, hey, I really like what you do, and you're like, my problems are solved. And I think this has been part of the psychology issue of the artists in the industry for decades.
Yeah.
And I think that artists of your generation and ones coming up now subsequently will learn that actually, no, you have to learn yourself, your own lessons through the industry, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's one of the key things that you think you've taken away from that process, learned about yourself by fundamentally working in an industry that used to promise things they can't deliver anymore?
I think that I've learned how to truly be codependent on me and validate myself, because I think that when I first started out, I would internalize a lot of things like, I'm being encouraged to make music like this or do it this way or work with these type of producers. And I would internalize that as they don't like me.
But equally, it's hard for people to know what you want to do when you're too scared to get past that fear.
Exactly. And ultimately, when you're first starting, you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And me being a student, I come in humbly, like I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But over time, I started to realize that I have to become really, really dependent on myself and my gut. And that's strong.
So you're a student by nature.
Absolutely.
And yet the world is starting to look to you for answers. How does that feel?
Chill. I do not have the answers. I remain a student. I don't know everything. I'm not righteous. I don't know everything. But
Facts, but none of us do. But there is a hierarchy to success that means that people search to you for a little more of something extra. And they stop searching to you for like, oh, she's learning and studying, to, oh, she's figured something out. Can she help me figure something out even further? I guess what I'm asking you is, like, how is success fit?
I think I'd have to unpack that one. I'm not sure. I'm very much in the early stages. I still am learning a lot about myself and still learning a lot about this industry. So I humbly say I have no idea what's
We'll
going
get
on,
back to
and
that
I am
one.
just a girl.
We'll get back to that one.
Yeah, we'll get back to it.
I look forward to it. I can't wait. There's so much life to live between now and the answer to that question. We may never get back to that one either. There may
Okay.
never be an answer to that
Never.
question. This is beautiful. You know, this is our final conversation of the year. And I'm so glad. And you've been so kind to us at Apple Music. We've built this beautiful collaborative relationship with you and TDE, who we love, and everyone moves so beautifully. But we're really grateful that you've taken some time out of, what is it? Like you say, a very busy December. We're going to talk about...
you went crazy this
crazy.
month. Like, are you good?
Yeah.
I know, right? I am okay. I'm okay. It's been a busy month, but thank God it's been busy, child. When it's slow, it's hard when it's slow. So
Every single piece of music on this project is the perfect canvas, Doechii, for you to paint and self-reflect. I feel like you woke up every morning if you were doing canvas work, and I see such a correlation between music and canvas work now. And you just took a look inside, took a look outside, and painted whatever you felt. And the music is just so nurturing on this record for you. You know, all the arrangements and the feelings. That one, it speaks to me because it's one of those great examples where you're moving away from tempo and energy and reflecting upon yourself. What kind of mood do you have to be in for a piece of music like that to be completed?
you have to be in a courageous place to be that vulnerable. You have to be ready to face yourself. And that takes time and patience. It was a lot of moments of me walking in the studio and walking back out like, I can't say that. And then walking back in like, no, you got to say it.
Yeah. Does it feel like it's almost like an explosion, like a vomit of sorts? Like, I cannot keep this in anymore. It will hurt me if I don't release this.
Absolutely. It's a therapy session that's like long overdue. It's like you have to really pee.
Do you love playing back pieces of music to people that are inside your real friendship group? Either people you collaborate with or your crew or your oldest friends, and just, I don't know, do you corner eye to see how they react to certain lines and see them go, oh God, like, you know, because so much of it is so beautifully truthful.
I don't like sharing or playing music for anybody. Like literally, my mom gets mad at me because she's like, I want to hear what you're working on. I can't. The only person who hears what I'm working on is my engineer and my label once I'm done with it.
Hold on, I got a question though. Is it weird for you because the musical landscape where it was before you dropped Alligator Bites Never Heal, it didn't point to the fact that we needed an album like that. And it wasn't like you were the first person to make music like this or the first woman to make music like this. But to a degree, you kind of shifted the musical landscape and you made labels and other parts of the music industry realize like, no, there's a place for this. People love it. People stream it.
Yep.
People are receptive to it. Did you feel that when you're making it? And maybe you didn't, but did you feel it once it dropped and you seen the reception?
I felt it once I was making it. I felt a very, very strong feeling that people needed this. They didn't think they wanted it, but they definitely needed it. And I knew that when I made it, for sure.
The aesthetic across it, for someone like me, I can recognize things that are familiar to me, but obviously entirely unique and modern. But I hear things that are like, oh, yeah, that reminds me of that feeling that I got back in 1992, or you know what I mean? And so, you know, what are some of those key, I personally love to talk about influences. I know some artists get nervous outwardly describing who inspired them, but I love the paying it forward and backward. So who are some of those artists that are kind of key just to this project, not even just to your development as a human, but just this project?
I have no problems talking about that because I love talking about it. A lot of my inspirations when I was making this project, that feeling that I got when I listened to my first Outkast album, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, how she was singing and rapping and the topics that she was discussing between romance and self-introspection and things
and
like that.
And hard too, still bars.
Still hard.
Yeah.
Inspired me a lot. Old Kendrick Lamar. Like I'm talking about like mixtape Kendrick Lamar when he was like 16, 17, inspired me a lot.
Because that's
mixtape Wayne.
The Nissan Altima, like that was an homage to that.
Yes. These artists, MF Doom, oh my God. Just like this pure hip hop essence of like creativity with no bounds and no restrictions, no formula.
It reminds me of like that story that, you hear about Madlib. You know what Madlib does? If you work with Madlib, apparently he makes it once on his sampler drum machine and he gives it to you and there's no mixing or adjustment after the fact. It's just yours. You can spin on it, you do it, you jump on it, but after that, the moment is passed.
That's it.
And that's it. It's done.
Yes.
Right? Because you got to make another one.
Yes.
You took so much time to get this project into a place. I don't know how much actual recording hours, but certainly personal development time. how did it feel when you finally knew that you could let it go and move forward with your life?
It felt so relieving because I was so obsessed with like this idea of a debut album. When I framed my mind in a mixtape, I was like, oh, this could be anything.
It's weird. The psychology is so weird like that, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
It is.
It is.
And so I was like, I'm going to make this mixtape in a month. Whatever I get in a month, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm letting it go.
Yeah. Done. We were talking a little bit while we were playing the last song about just December for you, and one of the most recent things you did was we will talk about Tiny Desk because a lot of people would love to hear your reflection on that because you've created it, you've set the bar again for that. But the Colbert performance to me was just so spectacular. You and your friends up there, your team as a crew provided one of the most visually interesting and brilliantly choreographed performances I've seen in a long time. And often choreography, and I'll try to narrow this description down, but choreography it can be a separate thing to the music at times. Sometimes I feel like I'm watching a performance alongside music or over music, but I'm really supposed to focus on the performance. I felt like this choreography was there to enhance the music.
Yes.
So can we talk a little bit about like from the spark to the flame to the fire of how you created that performance? Because people are watching it every day. I think it's good to put context around it.
Yeah. Originally, I had a choreographer, and this choreographer is amazing, by the way. But after I went into one rehearsal, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to make this myself because my body wants to be theatrical and act out these lyrics in such a way that only I can translate myself. And I was like, okay, I'm going to choreograph this. I've never done this, but let's do it.
You never choreographed anything you'd done before this performance?
No.
I'm sorry. I have to drop a bomb.
And that was the one you put. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should do that more then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe just a one-time genius moment. It's a collectible experience for everybody. So, okay, so you set yourself this challenge to do it, and so let's begin. Where do you start?
Absolutely. I started with the message, and I found this insert from MF Doom. He was doing an interview, and he was talking about the meaning of his mask and why he wears it, to draw more focus to not what he looks like, but what he sounds like. And that was kind of the basis of my performance. And I was like, I want these movements to not be distracting, like 1, 2, 3, 4, we sexy, like, but I wanted it to tell a story and act as like a play. I don't want these distracting lights moving all over the place. Let's bring them in one scene, one color, brown. 3 girls dressed the same. I don't need to be the center of attention. We look the same. Let's just
sometimes it's like a sidewalk trick of what's in the cup. Like I'm trying to figure out where you are, and there's only 3 of you because the way you're moving and interacting with each other is so seamless.
Yeah.
It took me about 60 to 90 seconds to realize that you were connected as well. It just reveals itself in the most tasteful way.
Thank you.
How long did it take to get right?
We have 4 days.
Jesus. Come on.
Bruh.
Listen,
Come on.
let me tell y'all something. I was
4 days for that?
And I had just traveled too. Let me tell y'all something. Aside from, you see this hat, you see this jacket, I'm a nice presenting woman. I'm hungry. I want to be the best. If I have 2 days, if I have 24 hours, I'm going to work my hardest to make the best performance because I want to be the best. Period. Don't let the jumpsuit fool you.
You're definitely the best dressed in here right now. I'll tell you that. But that's setting the bar somewhat lower than, Eddie exception, he always shows up.
He always shows up.
But
I mean, 4 days and the limitations of late night television. You don't see that. You know what I mean? Like it operates on such a narrow view, and then like you just come in and make the most of what those limitations are. It just speaks to the equilibrium.
Yeah. Colbert's team was very accepting of my ideas too. I think the guys were very excited.
You think? They're like, okay, no disrespect to anyone else who shows up on late night TV, but they got to do this
Noam Chomsky, ladies and gentlemen, Doechii. You know what I mean?
They got to do this every single night.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, another performance. They're like, okay, fire up, and this one's just like, and they're like, hey, was that good? And they're like, yeah, you were the best of the year. Welcome on. That was great. Thanks. Move on next. We're gonna do things.
Yeah.
You come on and do your thing in rehearsal. Everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna be fine. Were you nervous or did you feel you had it?
I knew I had it.
You know, I love that too, though, because you say you want to be the best, and that shines through in everything you do. It's the visuals, it's the performances. It's, we're going to talk about Tiny Desk later, but I want to rewind. Like, I went to TD had like a showcase for you, and I think it was 2021, maybe.
Oh God!
With the fire.
Truck.
Yes,
Oh,
the truck
God.
and the fire.
Why are you saying, oh, God?
Because
It was hot as hell too.
it was super hot. I had a ponytail on, and I was naked
Yes.
with boots and like body paint. It was just.
But I'm telling you, as somebody who was in the crowd, and as your name was starting to circulate, and you became one of those like fan favorites inside the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we go and where everybody's excited. All right, let's see what's going on. And usually when you go to artists when they first start, at least to us, like when we're seeing you for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
it can be a little rough, it can be a little this, it can be a little that. From the rip, we were like, yo, we left that joint like, oh, she's it. And what people don't realize is if you rewind to 2021 and you fast forward to now, to us, that feels like a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know what it felt like to you,
Yeah.
but we were all waiting for, like, I want her to have her moment. And watching it now, and you talk about being the best, it's like, oh, yeah, you got that in your genetic code. You have that because you had it then.
Thank you.
No, you're right.
Thank you.
What does it feel like? Does it feel like a second ago? Or does it feel like a lifetime ago, that performance?
It feels like a lifetime ago. Honestly, it feels like so long ago. But it was only 3 years ago, right?
But that just feels like a life. I mean, God, quarantine feels
Oh.
like another life.
It's like we quantum leaped into a new like space after
You know
that.
when people go into denial, I think there's been a collective global denial
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
that's been happening.
That check is in the mail. Like, you're gonna have to deal with that at some point. You know what I mean?
I'm dealing with it, baby. You're not dealing with it?
I mean, that's what the 9 to 10 o'clock hours for.
Right.
This is what we deal with it every single day. Oh, my days. You say so you don't have to reflect it, so we're not going to ask you to peel back those stories even deeper, but was that one of those moments where you walked out of the room and was like, do I really talk about it?
I literally asked my engineer, I was like, okay, nobody's here with us right now. Is this too far?
Yeah.
And she was like, a little bit, but go off.
You are an artist. You made a courageous decision at a very young age to back yourself. You are an entrepreneurial spirit by nature. Therefore, you created a bespoke industry designed around you. So why wouldn't you allow yourself to day drink once
Oh
in a
my
while?
God.
Because no one's telling you to show up to work. Then you have to make a decision that, you know what, the thing I really enjoy doing is hurting me. That kind of is a really important turning point, is it not?
Absolutely. It was hard to come to terms with that. And also take self-accountability
Yeah.
as to how did I let myself get here? What happened? And whose fault is it really?
Whew. Those are big questions.
Big question.
Yeah. So how did you get there? What was in you, do you think, at a certain point that made you? I look at it as the perfect distraction. I have 100% and open to this myself. There's times I just don't want to deal.
Yeah.
So I have a drink in my hand, or I'll work too hard. I'll do whatever I can to avoid the situation. And it's taken me a long time to figure out that, like, you got to work through the situation.
Absolutely. I think that when I first got signed, it was kind of like a celebration era for me. And then also with COVID and stuff, it's just like it builds into this whole like situation until I'm just like, okay, this is no longer serving you. This is no longer, a vibe anymore. And that's okay. You're outgrowing that. I'm like, I'm in my 20s. I should be able to have fun. And you can have fun. Just, it's not serving you anymore. And that's okay.
I was at Flog Gnaw, and I flew in from very far away and went straight to Flog Gnaw, and I got there very late, and all anyone wanted to talk about was your show. And I know people say that kind of stuff all the time, but you must know you had a moment, because when when you feel when you're on the site, and it's like you had a moment. So when it comes to performing live in situations like that, I know that you found your flow, but do you recognize each opportunity like that is like, okay, I could take this and I can actually reach more people. I can have a real moment here rather than just another show. How do you treat each show like that?
Absolutely. I treated one, I was just honored that Tyler allowed me to grace the stage, especially a big stage like that. I'm still up and coming. And so that was huge to me. But also I was like, this is an opportunity for me to expand my fan base. And it was just that. A lot of people in that crowd weren't familiar with me. A couple of fans were there, but most of the crowd wasn't familiar with me.
Well, it's almost like a Tyler show, really, in a lot of ways.
Yes, it is a Tyler show. But afterwards, a lot of people were like, hey, respect.
Yeah,
Like, okay, I see you. And that's cool.
And it's amazing how the word of mouth can still really affect that. We try to find our audience through all these digital ways and lots of billions of little kind of lanes, but really sometimes you just have to take the big road and just put your best self in front of as many people as possible and let that word of mouth thing happen.
People remember how you made them feel.
I search for fundamental truths in these conversations because we've all heard everyone say everything over and over again. We're in a conversation loop at some point in our life. When you say something like that, I realize like, oh my God, that is a fundamental playbook truth. They remember the feeling.
Yes, that's it.
What feeling do you remember? What really comes to mind out of the many that was a very important feeling that's attached to music for you throughout your life? Something that really has bookmarked for you in your mind, an important feeling at some point.
It would probably be the moment when I was writing Denial is a River. I realized that I didn't want to hold any secrets within myself anymore. I don't like living that way. I don't like secrets. I like to live honestly in my truth. And that's the most important thing to me now as an artist.
Because you broke through the threshold.
Yes, I have to be honest all the time or I get really uncomfortable. Maybe I'll get sick.
Yeah.
Or I'll die.
No, it's true. It can
Seriously.
manifest itself in you in a bad way.
I can't live that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that song is the most important song you've ever made in some respects.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
What's Tampa like?
Oh, God. Small.
Yeah.
But also big.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. So how would you create the distinction between the two in one singular?
Okay, it's big because it is a big city, but it's small because our music community is very small. And so it's warm. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody shows up for everybody. A lot of the audiences are just other artists supporting you.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
I love that. Anand's from Florida.
Yeah, not far away from you. I'm the other side of the boat. On the other side of the boat, you're on Tampa, Sebastian, Florida.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Tiny. It's tiny. Again,
It gets tinier.
it gets small. But there's a reason I don't live there anymore. Like
Okay.
you feel like it's too small. You outgrow it.
It feels very small.
Yeah, but like your ambition and that sort of like gut and that intuition tells you that you gotta go.
Yeah.
And I think when I'm listening to this record, I mean, the fact that you have a track called Boiled Peanuts is just like I'm down like dead. I'm like,
Also,
dead.
you know about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's fire.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
I love the song, but I would like the inside take on that from a local's point of view.
You have to try them. You have to taste it and you have to experience it. But they boil it. It's kind of like a stew with peanuts.
And you can get
It's
them on the side of the
delicious.
road anywhere, like on any side of the highway. You just get a bag of boiled peanuts.
Yes.
And it's like an acquired taste, but like everybody's got their own sauce. Everybody's got their own
This
recipe.
is what's wild about America. I just went to Missouri for the first time, put a pin in the middle of America, and that's it, right? And I literally stood there, and I realized I was getting a coffee in this tiny town square, and it turns out this is the first place that there was ever a recorded gunfight.
Oh, my God.
Wild Bill Hickok. Yeah, I think the NRA was born there. I think Wild Bill Hickok and some geezer got into it over gambling, shot their way out of this town square.
Wow.
And if you kind of close your eyes a little bit and remove the kind of whatever the storefronts that are modernized, it still feels like the Wild West. I realize like
Wow.
America is so gigantic that there is this sense of like escapism, even though you're only going across the country, like you're leaving. Did it feel that way when you were looking to get out of Tampa, and what was motivating you to search for something new?
Absolutely. I think that I had done every show. I did every club in Tampa, and I was looking for something else. I wanted people to know about my city. I wanted to learn new things, and I felt like I reached like a cap. And I wanted to get in a space where I wasn't the best. Oh, I say that humbly.
I rock with that.
Come on.
I say that
I
humbly.
love that.
So I went to New York because I was like, when I went to New York, that was like, oh, everybody here is hard. How am I going to push myself further
You
now?
also disappear in New York, right? Especially
Yeah.
at your age, you walk in there and everyone's your age.
Yeah.
And no one's looking at you going, yo, that's a
Yeah.
cool looking person, because they're sitting there looking in the
Everybody's
mirror.
cool.
Yeah, they're looking in the reflection in the shop window going, I'm looking pretty cool today.
Exactly.
But the only way you're going to get better is to spar with somebody who's better than you.
Yes.
That's it. That's
and
it.
that was the goal.
So
Yeah.
you conquered New York.
Conquer New York, and then I moved to LA, and now I'm here. We'll see.
Main event. Main event time. Main event time.
Doechii, we're seeing. We're not we'll see, we're seeing. It's a beautiful thing. This is why I love this story. It's so unique, but it's also an example of somebody who got themselves right. And so the music is right. And it's not like, oh, you landed on great music, but now you got to do the self-work, and that's tough. So, yeah, man, the music's always going to be right.
Woo!